Check, check. Can I get a mic check here? Let's see. Hang on. I'm not hearing you, so I will check this. Okay, Georgie, go ahead. Give me that check again. Check, check. Good.
Yep.
All right, good.
Copy check.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. All right, there we go. Let's get a recording rolling.
Really quiet. I can hear somebody else's music.
All right. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, July 10th of 2020, and this is the TRC sales training call, and we're ready to rock and roll here. So make sure you mute your mics if you're in a spot. I can hear somebody pouring a nice glass of water, either that, Clever, or it's a beer. So let's get her rolling here. I want to start off with a couple of things that for all of you that don't have the benefit of being part of the mastermind group with all the team leaders, it's important. Oh, guys, Ray, hey, Ray, love the music, buddy, but we got to mute you up, okay? So remember, you come in here live, so everybody has to be quiet with a muted mic, and then when you want to participate, you jump back in, okay? All right, so I want to go back to this for the mastermind members and share it transparently with everybody else that we, hang on one second. I cannot minimize that.
Hey, Danny, can you turn your mic up? Like, I've got my volume all the way up, and it's really quiet.
Sure. Bear with. That any better? Let me see. Let's go just check all the settings here, make sure we're good. All right, input volume. Any better? Any better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Danny.
There you go. Yeah. Zoom.
Much improved.
Thank you. Zoom setting. Thank you for the heads up on that. Let me just check it on StreamYard where we're blasting out everywhere there too. Bear with me there. Let's make sure everybody can hear us before we get rocking and rolling. If somebody's here, can you go on to any of the TRC pages out there, Elite Mastermind or whatever you might? Let's just see if you can hear me out there too, because I know we were live out there. Let's just check that mic too. Any of you? Can you go out there and just double check for me? Camera, audio. Let's just double check that. Default built-in mic. Yeti. Check, check, check. All right. Looks like we're going.
Sounds good.
It does good. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Let's keep rolling here. So what I want to talk about today is I wanted to go through this value ladder. Okay. So this concept of a value ladder is really important. And what it means is your whole business, when you're in sales, is a step of value ladders, right? I mean, that's what it's a ladder with steps. And so each time we're going up and we're presumably becoming more valuable, we start off with free, right? So the concept of a freemium or a freebie is alive and well in, most businesses, or a low cost, people would call it retail, a loss leader. It's almost like you've gone, below the cost or at cost, and you're not necessarily making any money from that. And that's the way that you get the true avatar or ideal client started, by offering something. And not everybody ascends up your ladder to clients. So in our business, as you all fully well know, that we're going to offer a lot of free information, and then the next step up the ladder is our insight, which comes with our time. And this is interesting about this industry. Over the years, I've heard a lot of agents whine about that. Well, that's my time. And well, duh. If you're not going to give away your time as one of your freemiums and some of your insight, you're not going to ascend many people. That's just a fact of the matter. So you have to understand that, especially with the inside sales work that seems to dominate these calls, because most people seem to struggle at the very, very first conversation. And that could also be a first conversation, an open house, a live meeting. You have to understand the power of the freemium or the freebie up front. And so at the Realty Classroom, what we discovered long ago at its inception was that freemium needed to be refined. It needed to be information that was really, really powerful and important as it relates to the ideal avatar. And what does ideal avatar or avatar mean? It means ideal client or customer. And so in strategic marketing, the best practices are that you go and you define what that person looks like. And that's important that you do that. It's an exercise that everybody blows off. Well, I would do business with anybody. Yes, when you're desperate, you will. That's exactly what you'll do. You'll do business with anybody. And what I have found as a strategic coach over the years, trying to improve my own business strategically and then share it with the mastermind level, is that at every level, whether you're brand new to the business or not, you need to think strategically about who do you really want to do business with? Because when you do, everything changes. And you tend to magnetically market or magnetically attract the right person more and more and more. So before you can even do that, you first have to look at the business and say, how does the business really work? Well, the business really works by us. And you can see this, by the way, with the proliferation of Zillow, Redfin, other tech companies that were able to come in from a technology angle early on and say, well, the way that their business, so they were looking at us, and here we were chiseling it away. And they came in from above looking at the whole thing and said, well, gee, looks like all these consumers want access to property information and details. Why don't we just build technology that delivers that? And that's what they did. And they also, to give Zillow its credit, they went further and they tried to look at the math to say, how is a property valued? And is there an algorithmic approach to it? It's a very Wall Street-ish tech approach to algorithmic ways to decide and take scenarios and mathematical, formulas and statistics, throw it into this process and spit out a guesstimate of value. So you have to give them their credit too, because they also knew that not only do the people want pictures and details, but the sellers who drive the business want a guesstimate of value. And that's how we were able to really run along there. Okay. So my background green makes me look good. Thank you, Jay Hull. I appreciate you. I love you, brother. So the point is, when you go there, you're looking at this whole approach as that's the way the business works. So we can look at the way that, say, somebody like a Zillow or a Redfin does it, Zillow in particular, and say, well, why aren't we doing it that way? Because we are the David with the slingshot and the stone, and they are the Goliath with the big old club. So you act as if you can't compete with them, which is absurd. You can be highly effective on a very localized, way, which is, or geography, which is what you're supposed to be doing anyway. And that's your business, is a hyper local focus where you are the expert. Okay. So coming back to that, if you are the expert individually, then what happens is you have to simply figure out what your unique selling proposition is. Now, that gets a lot of people confused. Hey guys, can you watch your mics there so I don't have to babysit them? Someone's got an open mic there. If you have an open mic, just mute me and we're good. Okay. So the point is, what I did was I looked at it and said, well, if I take the hero's journey formula, okay, if I take that formula, it's in all the movies you've ever seen. It's the way that things really work and why we're interested in the narrative. Enters the hero of the story, which is not you and I. Okay, keep that in mind. We are not the hero. The buyer potential, the seller potential, and if you're recruiting, the agent potential are the three that are in the real estate agency story. I'm going to focus on sellers because it's critical that you do too. So you have this seller hero who enters the story. And if you've spent some time culling out in your head who ideal is, you're going to tend to focus on that one that says, ooh, that sounds like the one I've been looking for. Who are they? Where are they? And I would say, where are they? Geographically speaking, are they in your area? Who are they? What value property do they own, for example, as a real financial approach to this? So now they are. The hero enters. But the hero enters with a problem. Even though most sellers have a perception that they believe they know how that this business really works, they don't. And I talked today with my team, Autumn on the front end at telemarketing, Laura at the back end with client care management, me in the middle in the heat of the moment with presentations, et cetera. So we talked about this, that what is that problem? Well, the problem really starts with the seller, the buyer. They have a perception of the way things are going to work, and it's wrong. So that's a problem. Right? They're taking bits and pieces and guessing at how this complicated process actually works. Because it's not an event. You don't just wake up one day and buy a house. You go through a process, and now it's complicated by the internet. You're trying to filter, et cetera. So they come in And their problem is their perception is not the way that it really works. So what happens in this play is that we enter. So we go from sort of like you see this kind of this heartbeat like line where enters the hero. The problem is brought forward to the audience. Enter us as the guide with what? This is the key point. The plan. Now the plan is what they need. But the tension in this whole moment is they don't want what they need when they first enter. Ever seen a horror flick? Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're walking in the garage for, the guy with the chainsaw is back there. And the audience leans in and everybody gets worked up. But the silly old, hero of the story keeps walking in there. So it is up to the guide to try to be savvy enough to say, all right, I know what they need. They need the plan to avoid the pitfalls of this process, but I'm going to have to deal with what they want too. So when you arrive, for example, at an outbound call or an open house, I'm going to use both scenarios. So I hit both buyer and seller. I'm going to show you it's identical. It's formulaic. On the sell side, we are easily able to identify that there is an expired listing out there. That means the hero has already gotten in trouble. We enter this story as the guide. They've already gotten in trouble. And so when we arrive on that first call, you have to feel like the excitement as that guide with that outbound call and say, I have what you need. I have a plan, but I know that I'm going to have some difficulty telling you what you need, especially after you've already failed. Who wants to hear, look, dummy, you made these mistakes? Nobody. Okay. So even though I have this delicious plan that can get them on the right path with or without me, by the way, complete detachment from the value, I now have to go, but I know they're going to want more pictures and details of properties because that's what everybody wants. And they lean in on that. But what if my pictures and details could add a little bit more insight, that it wasn't just what anybody else could do? It's me curating the 5 or 6 that sold around them in the value range they were at, that they were probably competing with. What if I curate that type of information so it's a little bit better? So my properties and details are a little bit more selfishly for the hero, and I sneak in that 7 steps that they need so they'll digest both together. That's all you're doing here. Okay? That's all you're doing. So when you make an outbound call to somebody, could be probate, could be home evaluation, could be whatever, you have to be enthusiastic that you're talking to this hero, and this is what this is. This is like, with or without me, you would be crazy not to take this information. Remember, I put a footnote on information. Pictures and details of properties that sold around you that you were competing with. Pictures and details of properties that sold around you that will affect your home evaluation that you're asking for. Whatever. Pictures and details of properties that have sold recently around the estate property that will give you some indication of value range. It's applicable to every type of seller. All that changes is the context. So we have this information. The hero of the story would be insane not to get a little bit of what they really want, pictures and details and what they need. And we would give it to them. That's your freemium. And you have to be enthusiastic about that. And it's a unique selling proposition, right? I'm not saying that there won't be people that listen to this that might not do it at the same time you do, but this is the whole idea, that you're curating it and you're taking the time to go out and deliver it to them. Now, a lot of you keep asking, but what's next? So when you hear me push on these calls, when I listen to some calls today, and I say, slow down in that first beat, and I want to make sure that when you're slowing down, you're really explaining that to that avatar, you're explaining the value in this thing so that it becomes a rhetorical, sure, I'll take that. That's the way it should be, right? Now, you finish that with authority by saying, wonderful, I will send that to you and I'll call you next week to make sure that you got it. You have to bundle that up, because the type of information freemium, the package, this is an information product, by the way. If you've ever heard about online marketing and heard the term information product, that's what this guided plan with these properties is. But it's also marketing to the extent that you have packaged it up with your brand on it, the way you put it in the envelope, the size, the quality. This is a statement of your professionalism, also known as marketing. You are marketing when you do this. And that is attracting people back into you. They are drawn back into you by this professional presentation. That's what this is. Okay. So now you want to finish that every time in every scenario. Let's go to the open house. I will not go into an open house without several of these information marketing packages ready to go. 2 buy sides. So I've got pictures and details of other properties around that property that we're in that have sold, plus for sales. So I'm going to curate information because I know that person's driving around looking at this little tiny phone, looking at the apps. I'm going to curate some for sales that are around them with the addresses and the details. Yes, I'm going to give away the addresses and the details of other people's property. And I'm going to trust that from time to time, that's going to be so appreciated. They're going to want me to show them the properties or subsequently down the line. That has happened to me, well, 4 times in the last 2 months, because I gave the information package to somebody who wasn't in a formal relationship with an agent, showed them the property, and they were so appreciative they asked, because once they had the buyer course, they saw this guy's a guide. And 2 inbound, one asked me flat out right there, but 2 inbound emails came in, said, wonder if you're taking on any more buyer clients at the moment. Both said the same thing. I know you might not believe that that's possible, but I'm not preaching what I don't practice. This is what I do, and this is what works as a freemium and as a unique selling proposition. Okay. So now let me go back to the first call. Let's say they say, yes, wonderful, send it, but I got to run. Thank you so much. Great. I'll call you next week to make sure you got it. Statement, not a question. Oh, would it be okay if I call you next? None of this apologetic stuff. You're killing yourself, right? So what happens is when you call back, you're calling back simply to make sure it arrived. You're not calling back to coach them, especially if you're a telemarketer. That's not your job. Because now you're starting to get into, and you can hear it, and if Gail's on here with the call from Rebecca that she and I analyzed, you're going to hear what we're going to teach Rebecca, where Rebecca starts to get lost in the second half. Here's why. The next ladder up is not Rebecca's wheelhouse. It's Gail's. It's Danny's, not Autumn's. It's where we go, and we go into the house to add our insight on top of that information package. We, as the interpreters, the guides that are in the white water, in the raft with these people, if we can get into their house and we can go through this stuff, it is the next freemium, is our insight that we're willing to give obligation free. So now you have 2 steps in the ladder. This fabulous information package for buyers and sellers with property pictures, details, especially solds, and both courses. But the next step up is, would you like me to show you some of these properties so that when we walk through together, I can give you my insight as to what is valuable about it? Would you like me to come to your home where I could add my insights on top of this information to show you what to do and what not to do, in my opinion, so that you can get it sold? So what you're selling, when you find out why, but there's a pivotal point here that I'm going to get to, what you're selling, if you're a telemarketer, or if you're selling yourself as a telemarketer, is the next level of value. But here's a key point to all of you that are compounding on inside sales, telemarketer, business development associates, whatever they're called. You're pounding on them for an appointment just for the sake of the appointment, because you mistakenly believe, as a manager, you mistakenly believe that the money is in the volume of appointments. The money goes all the way back to the avatar definition, because enters this hero. It kind of looks like and sounds like our hero. They're agreeable. They're talking to us. They'll listen to a few tips. They seem coachable. But one thing that sits at the top of all of this is, why are they trying to buy? Why are they trying to sell? If they don't have a big enough reason to buy or sell in a very short period of time, then your ability to offer the next level of showing them more properties or going to their house is completely diminished. And so you think it's you, or you think it's your staff that's not fully, well, you got to keep digging. Digging against what? Somebody doesn't have a why, you stopped listening. Your brain fell out of your head. You would never walk into a store, any of you, and allow somebody to talk at you like that if you didn't have a real reason to buy the shoes, buy the dress, buy the food. You wouldn't. So you have to be respectful, but yet authoritative in determining, is there a match? Is this next message of insight added to their situation? Is it a match? Do they have a real why where that insight, my time in their house, my time in the field showing properties, is there a match? If so, go for it. If not, now you have to determine, is it even a viable longer term follow-up? Because you're going to have to do other types of follow-up where now what you gave in the moment of that sold information needs to be delivered continuously over time until they're ready to be upsold to the next level. Okay. So that's as thorough and as simple in 20 minutes that I can give you that. And you must understand this. And you cannot cheat this. This is universally the way that this business works. And we know it works because there's enough of us in this group that practice it. All right. Before I get into some of the technicals with people today, Paul, I know you're out there. Rebecca, I don't know if both you and Gail are out there. If not, I need both. How about Gail? She out there today too?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Gail, I told you I wanted to go to that call first. So I don't care if you guys play it or I play it. Yep. You there, Gail?
Yes.
Okay. So do you guys want to play that or do I want to play it?
I actually unpacked it or unzipped it from the file, so
Fabulous.
it should be really easy to play.
Fabulous. All right. Now, Rebecca, that big buildup was to reiterate to you that what we're going to hear in this call is that stage where there's going to be a why in this thing somewhere in there. And we're going to be looking for this thing. And then we're going to see that we haven't trained you enough on that next level. That's what the analysis is here for, the second beat, okay? So in advance of that, do you have any questions about what I said today so far?
No, it actually answered the questions I was going to ask you.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Go ahead, so play it for us. Awesome.
I sent it to you.
Oh, you sent it to
I
me.
don't actually have it ready.
Oh, you?
Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. You.
Yeah, I unzipped it for you and
it.
mailed it to you. Yeah.
I got it. You unzipped it for me. All right, let's see.
I would play it on my computer, but I'm not sure how good the speakers are.
Okay, which email did you send? Realty Classroom?
The Reality Classroom, yeah.
Okay, I'm Reality. I like that. Realty. I wish
Sorry.
I was in a reality moment. All right, here we go. So Rosa, is that who it was, right?
Yes, it was Rosa.
Okay.
She was the one.
Okay, here we go. Everybody be looking for that second beat I just described. That's what we're training on here. So hang on, here we go. Come on.
Hello? Hello, Rosa. This is Rebecca. Yeah. This is Rebecca with Rossetti Realty. And the reason I'm calling is because we saw your beautiful home online and noticed that it didn't sell. And I'd like to mail you a package of information that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that? Yeah. Okay. I want to confirm the best address is 2020 Ashton Avenue, Menlo Park, 94025. Are you going to send something to mail? Okay. Yes. I'm going to send you a package of information. It'll be pictures of homes nearby that sold that were similar to your home, along with our 7-point strategy and plan. Okay. And so, do you mind if I give you a call back next week to make sure that you help the package? No, not at all. No, that would be more than welcome. Some questions. Do you do research for my house? And do a consultation on my house? I do pretty preliminary research on your house, so I can see like the street view from Google, and I know that it just came off the listing this morning, so we get a notification automatically when that happens, and so we'll reach out to people to help them. because, you either took it off for a reason or for some, it expired because you let it lapse, and I don't know what your plans are specifically, so we just reach out to help you. Let me ask you, well, I have you on the phone, why were you going to sell the house in the first place? Say it again? Why are you going to sell the house? Why do you want to sell the house? Oh, I'm downsizing. Oh, okay. All right. Do you have another place that you have in mind that you'll be going? Yeah, I already bought. Okay, fantastic. Well, if you'd like, I can schedule an appointment with Gail either on the phone or she can swing by to take a look at the house and see if we can help you with the process of getting ready to put it on. So, Rebecca, do you have any analysis on what the listing price would be if I would give you the listing? Yes, that's part of our package. We'll be giving you, that I'm sending you in the mail, that'll be, it'll be getting out probably later this afternoon. Okay. No, it's a holiday. Yeah, not today, but Monday. Monday we'll be getting that out to you. So, but yes, that's part of it. And then your market plans, yeah. Yep, that's right. Yes. Okay. And if you like, I can put you on our email list as well. That's all. You can see what's going on with the market. Okay. All right. It's okay. It's a lot of people said that. It's okay. Thank you. Okay. No worries.
All right, let's stop. Gail, go ahead. Have at it.
Okay, 1 second. Sorry, Danny. So I think, there were a lot of questions that she simply could just say, and we went over this a couple of times, Rebecca and I, that she just needs to state when she's asking about analysis and all that she needs to just say Gail would be the perfect person. She's a specialist. She's an expertise at this. I would like to make an appointment right now with, what I'd like her to do. When she said, if I listed the property with you, I was like, oh my God. So I would just like her to defer to me. Okay. Basically, say Gail can explain everything that's in that package. In fact, she can even come by today or whatever. And would that be okay with you to be able to have her come by? Because she's my avatar. So I'm sure you're going to break it down a little bit more, Danny.
Yeah.
But
I want to hear what you say to her. Next, I want to hear, Rebecca, what you say about your own call.
Okay, well, I think at the beginning I was hesitant because I didn't want to talk over her. She very much liked to jump in, so I was a little rough on the intro. But after that, I thought it was pretty smooth with, the beats. I managed to get her to say yes to the package. She confirmed the address. She said I could call her back. She then started asking questions. And I think that's where I kind of went off the rail a little bit, but I tried to do my best to ask, would you like to schedule an appointment with Gail to talk on the phone or to come by? And she said, no, that's okay. And then she asked again about what kind of analysis we were going to be.
Well, I don't know if she said, hold on. I don't know if she says, no, that's okay about Gail. I'd have to go back and listen to it. What I heard was a lot of questions about the analysis of the home. And I'm wondering, why did you get so confused right there? Because
I was just surprised she kept asking about that one point when I said it at the beginning that part of the package was a market analysis comparing her house with the homes in her area.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. And that's the big point here. It's nothing more than information that still requires Gail's insight and interpretation. It's not. So this is the big training moment that I'm trying to tell everybody. Don't try to do the job that the person that's next in line in the assembly line is supposed to be doing, because that's the value. That's the value.
Got it.
And that's yeah. Well, but you need to understand, as everybody does, if it's me giving the package, it's not my interpretation. What's my analysis on the property? I'd be happy to do one. What I'm sending you is the information. This is what you were competing against, and this is what's sold. This is what buyers said yes to when you were on. So we start there. But if you want me to interpret this, you betcha. When can I come over? If I take a look at it, I'll be able to tell you in a minute. But who in their right mind is giving you an analysis on what they would ask for the property without seeing it? I hope nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got to get in there to see it. Right? I mean, well, I'm not ready for people. Well, you sound like you're ready to go. I mean, are you ready? Are you relisting with somebody? Do you have an agent already helping you? Well, we're thinking about going back with De Leon or listing with him. Well, are you open to a second opinion? I mean, I have a very totally different perspective on how things work, I'm sure, from De Leon. Would you like me to come in? Because it'll be worth it. I'll give you my I'll give you my interpretation of what the situation is. And I'll give you my opinions. Why not have two? So it's like, I know it's on me and Gail to coach you up in this, but what I'm more intrigued by is where were you going? Like, where do you get your information that you would say like it's in there? And then you panic almost and you say like, can I put you on an email? Where are you going? It's almost, and I said this to Laura this morning in our meeting. I said, look, you have moved up into client care management where I'm not so sure you're all listening like keenly. I don't think we probably make it clear to you all, and you all see me in a coaching mode all the time. You probably think all I do is talk. I am an incredibly good listener to details, and I can multitask. I can be talking at you and hearing what you're saying. Like I just, over the years, I'm able to process like that. And Gail's the same. We can hear, we can intuit, we know where you're going. And so that's a tough thing to train you. So against the backdrop of systems, I have to say, you have to finish that beat. And what you're looking for is that opportunity to get Gail in that property to add her insights on this information. But this information doesn't come with interpretation. This information is just guidance. It is an info product that states, here are the steps generally to the process. Here are some specifics, but it's just the full MLS printout of pictures, details, etc., of what's sold around you, a little above, a little below, but it has nobody's interpretation attached to it. So this whole concept of a market analysis is truly impossible without a property visit. I mean, the least amount, well, you could do it over the phone and take a guesstimate based on somebody telling you about it, looking at pictures, going from there. But until you go to the property, if it's a condo, what's the building look like? What are the surrounding buildings? When I come outside, what's left or right? If it's a home, what do the neighbors look like? When I take a left or right out of the driveway, there is so much going on in the interpretation and setting of a price that without a home visit, it is virtually impossible to be the highest standard you can be. So you have to understand that from us, that you could never, ever even dabble in what we're able to do in the house. So don't even bother. Just say, look, I would love to have Gail give you a price. Can I set her up on the phone? Because what I'm sending you is just the information, but it needs her interpretation. Done. And then you're done.
Yeah.
See, that's the verbiage I needed. So to answer your question, why I was trying to get her on the email list, that's part of our checklist. You know, like we get out the package, we, confirm the address, we say, can we call you back next week? And then, hey, would you like to get the email listings of what's currently happening on the market?
You're trying to do too much. It's way too.
Appointment.
Yeah, it's all too much. And it's not you. I want you to walk away from this call today feeling a ladder. Am I stepping? You only offer, and again, when you say an email list, what? Who wants to be on another email list? Nobody said that ever. Okay. But if I have a hyper relevance to information you'd like to email me on a continuous basis, as long as that's where we're at in our conversation, it makes sense logically. Let me explain. It's on the board next to me. I'm not going to drag the whiteboard over here, but I'll explain it. I go from the properties with the course, just information. Let me get that in the mail to you. But I hear you say you've already moved. You missed that with her. I've already bought another property. Oh, really? Are you living in the new one? Is this one empty? Like, there's the conversation that just gets completely missed here. Okay. So, because you're fighting, like most diligent people, you're fighting to check boxes. You just said it. Well, that's in our checklist. I'm not interested in a checklist. I'm interested in a human conversation that is grounded in a checklist. There's a difference. Okay. Otherwise, you're not listening. You're checking boxes to try to please Gail. Don't do that. So now you come in, you heard the why. I've already bought another house. Bingo. Huge why. Huge why. Alarms go off. Wow, really? Have you moved into it yet? Now, what I could do, since you've already sold it, why don't I just get Gail to bring the package to you, see the property, and she can give you her opinion of value while she's there, because that's what the lady wants. And
Yeah,
that's
there was also another thing that kind of tripped me up too, because otherwise I would, it being a Saturday, we can mail out on a Saturday, but it was the 4th of July, so we wouldn't have been able to mail it out until Monday. So that was a little bit of a hiccup for me as well.
Rebecca, it doesn't matter
So
when it, watch
I
this.
should have just asked her if she wanted an appointment
Rebecca,
that
watch
day.
Rebecca, watch this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when it gets mailed out. Doesn't matter. What
Yeah.
matters is what matters to this lady. You are using the delivery of the package to ingratiate yourself in a tiny window of time, your phone call, which you did here. And she's like, really? You're going to send me something? She couldn't even believe that somebody was going to take the time to send this freemium, and it was worth it to her. But then as you kind of ramble on, she's like, well, wait a minute. We're like, what are you doing here? Are you trying to like ask me for the listing? And she even says, if I'm going to give it to you, well, what would you?
I think she thought I was the real estate agent, and she's not the first
She
one that has
did.
encountered that.
She did. She
She
did.
thought I was the real
Yeah.
estate
So
agent.
what?
Yeah.
She did. So what?
Yeah.
She did. So make your turn. Say, well, listen, Gail is the one who interprets this information. Why don't I just have her bring it to you, and she'll give you an opinion of value right there, and she'll tell you what this, she'll just go over our plan with you. It's free.
Oh, that's perfect. That's beautiful, Danny.
Oh, well, because
Thank you.
everybody's complicating everything. You heard what she said, and you only have 2 beats. 1, can I get the package to you? Yes. 2, do you have a real why? Yes, I do. Great. Let me send her. That's all there is to this. There's no
Yeah,
more
so
to
we
it.
So we talked about that, Danny. The
Yeah.
sense of urgency is going to be really important. And so she can just text me. I can call her right away, or I can drop it off. So we have, different scenarios but with this person is my exact avatar.
Yeah. All right, good.
In the
Let's
area I want.
let's get off of it. You got
Okay.
it now. There's
Yeah,
your
she got it.
there's your teaching moment. Okay?
Mhm.
So tell
Oh,
me
thank you.
now repeat back to me the 2 rungs on the ladder, and the connector is 1 word. Okay? The sense of urgency is around the word why. But now you tell me back what I just said.
The 2 beats to get the package out, and then to get Gail either at the appointment on the phone or in the house
Okay.
to deliver the package itself.
But I want you to tell me the value in each of those 2 steps in the ladder. What is the value of the package?
The value of the package is information that'll show them where they're at in relation to the market, and to give them the plan.
Okay.
And then the value of Gail coming over is to give the insight and her expertise about their particular property.
Okay, let me pull it together a little bit tighter, okay? The value of the package is that we have curated information in 2 beats. 1, we have curated or sat down, chosen some of the competitors that sold, pulled it from MLS, organized it in a package, a few above, a few below, so they can see what buyers said yes to in that price range while they were on, period. Doesn't tell them where they're at in relation to it. It just states, here are a couple above and below that sold while you were on that were generally in your category. Okay? Because we don't know what your category is specifically. So we went in your general area, Menlo Park. We looked at a couple above, couple below, and we curated all that, put it neatly together. And we stick in a copy of the 7-point plan that we customize for our clients. Boom, end of story. With or without us, this is helpful. May I send that? Yes, you may. Next. Oh, by the way, why were you selling it? I've already bought another house. In that case, have you, wow, have you moved out of this one? Have you moved into the new one? Yes, I have. In that case, what I could do is I could get Gail on. Gail is the primary listing agent here at Rossetti Realty. And what I could do is I could have her bring the package to you, and she could drop it off see the property and give you her interpretation of what it all means right now. And you've asked me about the, the asking price. She'll give you an opinion. She'll give you an opinion, but it's just logical. There's no big heavy lifting here, but you have to understand the value of each beat and just stick to that. Don't say any more than that. Say, I know you can't, hang on one second. I know you keep asking me for an opinion. Yes, I got the lady. Let me just give this to her. Forget the mail, screw the mail. Let her hand deliver it, see your property, meet you, tell you what she thinks. Boom. End of it. Go ahead. Who's that, Kleb? Was that you?
Yeah, Danny, I was just thinking in Rebecca's defense here, like if Rebecca doesn't understand, and I'm saying this because I'm getting ready to bring an ISA on too.
Yeah.
If they don't understand formulaically how the business works,
Correct. They're dead.
like their mind just isn't going there.
They're dead.
So their mind just isn't going to, oh, I have to get Gail out there.
If you go back, you don't have to defend her, because if you go back and listen to the recording, I take full responsibility for this entire group. If I don't teach it to you, you're going to default to what you perceive as right. It's, by the way, it's the same thing, Chris, that a seller does to us. If we leave the seller, and I just taught Laura this morning, if we leave how the business works to the seller's interpretation, marketing, how are you going to market my property? It's all they talk about, marketing. Look at, most sellers have no idea how efficient the multiple listing service is. So if I just spend the real money to get the real photographer on the best day, do the floor plans, do all the drone photography, the 3D tour. If I go all in, that's marketing step number one. Step number two is syndication out to the world. So at least what I've done is presented it digitally to the digital world to be seen. That's marketing. It's not some esoteric this thing. And this is where all this bullshit comes from. Oh, I have this private list of wealthy individuals. Some guy in this marketplace says, give me a break, right? 88% of the time it's market making. If we get the price right, if we digitally present it correctly, then they come to the house. Now we're market making, meaning, did they like it? Why didn't they? Digging in. So we even let them have a perception, Chris. So whether it's we're leaving it to the telemarketer's perception, seller's perception, buyer's perception, shame on me and shame on us, right? And that's why I am adamant. That's why do you think we do the campfire call every other week and we hardly have anybody show up on it? It's the singularly most important training that I do to express the value of the process that a buyer or seller goes through, because we're in the guidance business, Chris, right? So you're absolutely right. Rebecca has done nothing wrong. She has defaulted to what she presumes she should do. And if there's anything Gail and I did wrong, there's too many things. She's trying to, could I put you an email? Could I put you, right?
Yeah.
Just walk the ladder. The email list is, you know what it is? It's also easy. Geez, you know what? It sounds like you're not quite ready. You have a why, but you don't have a why to do it until, the fall. What I would recommend though is what I'm sending you in the mail is a snapshot of what sold around you while you were on. Okay. But since there's going to be a delay and you're not ready for Gail yet,
Exactly.
I can recommend a continuous stream of what goes pending and sold. And if I just get your email, I'll put you into the MLS. So what I curated and printed, you'll get continuously in your inbox. And from time to time, I will call you and we can just make sure you're getting those and seeing them. And I'll just tell you how generally the market's doing, because we do a market update too. That's how continuity, Chris, comes in. It's a downsell for a longer follow-up. It's not a, right? She didn't even need that here. Closed for the appointment. So you're right, Chris, until we pound this through even our heads, how are we going to teach her, right? So
something I realized actually on this training just now is that part of what I'm learning and what I can really recognize is understanding and recognizing verbal cues from the prospect that I'm talking to.
Yes, amen, sister.
And that's huge. And now that I can see what they are and get a better feel, I'll be able to defer to Gail much easier and smoother. Yeah. So thank you so much for this. I really appreciate today's call.
Well, because you keep coming in here and fighting for this, right? So what you're fighting for is just this, you're learning. I had this conversation with Autumn today, identical. And so what I was saying to her is that, you need to really understand how valuable a visit from me is to somebody. And that's not braggadocious. I'm a pro. Gail's a pro. This is what we do. And we're darn good at what we do. So, and we give it to you straight. We're not going to yes you and tell you we're like worth. So you're going to 15 of my competitors walk in and tell you whatever you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the reality of the situation. I'm going to give my insight, my interpretation to the reality of this situation, right? That's what I'm going to do. So why wouldn't you want that? That's my insight. And the more insights that you can have, eventually the truth is bubbling up and crystallizing for you as the seller. And now you can make an informed decision. Make sense?
Yes, it sure does.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good job, though. You're working hard at this. And, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm glad.
She did say
Go ahead. Come on.
at the end of the call, she did say yes to the appointment on Monday. But then I know just to kind of give some context, I guess she listed the next day.
I know she
somebody
did. You
else,
know why?
so.
Because she listed with somebody who's an animal and a closer, right? And they have a huge resume. So when we leave that window, the wolves are around the corner, especially when it's a good one, right?
Yeah, it's a good learning lesson, though. Yeah,
No doubt. You did
absolutely.
fine. You didn't do anything wrong, like Chris said, right? So,
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, I'm a wolfette.
well, there's no doubt. We know that, Darren.
No,
Everybody,
indeed. Absolutely.
Chris Clubb is frightened of you today. He's just trying to be respectful. He's scared you could bite his head off. All right. All right. What's next? Cantu, you were out there. Hey, do I have Maxie and Russell? Are you two out there as well? I just want to do a double check if Maxie or Russell, you're out there today. For either one of you. Maxie, Russell.
On here.
Good. Okay. Russell, I hear you. Is Maxie with us?
I'll send her a message.
Okay, Russell, that conversation was for you too. I knew.
I am here.
Good. Okay, that conversation was for the two of you as well. Okay, so that's what I was trying to get with you yesterday. So I want to go back to that. When I was talking to Duran, I also took responsibility with Duran for you guys not necessarily knowing the real value in that person going out there. I'm not saying neither one of you are rookies and you're good at this, but there's this scripted moment where we're trying to have this exchange of value. But then it goes into the second spot. And Russell, especially one of the calls you had given me that I was listening to, you got out there like Rebecca, where you're trying to do too much. Say, look, here's the next step for you. You do have a real reason to buy. So let me just get one of the agents with you. And what they'll do is they'll give you some insight as to how to get the best deal. You can't go wrong. They're going to go over what's sold, what negotiation looks like. You know, you can hit a couple of talking points, Russ, but you want to sell the value of why that's a perfect next step for them. You want to hit them over the head with the logic hammer. Got it?
All right. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Any questions about what I was talking about on the steps for you or Maxie? Maxie, questions about that?
None so far. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Maxie, you tell me what the value of the two steps are in your buyer approach. Okay. Because I know it's not easy. So what's the first offer that is valuable? What's the freemium they've opted in for? You tell me about why is that valuable to them?
They needed to get updates on listings.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that's the one of the reasons why they registered at our site.
Yeah. So why is them registering valuable? What are they getting from the website that's valuable? See, it's hard to state the obvious, Maxie, isn't it? Maxie?
Yep.
Maxie, you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
The comments that I would get from them from these buyer leads would be they like the photos that they see on our site that makes them register.
Okay, so Maxie, here's the value. It's the same thing that is in the package. It's called curation. Okay, somebody has taken the time to print, to set up a website, to be able to easily curate information that's important to the hero of the story. So when somebody comes to a website and they like visually the way they can do it, and they can set their criteria. They're not getting it manually like the expired package, but they are getting it automatically, and they can set it up. And when you call, the value of your call is to tighten it up for them because they did it themselves, but they might not be using the full function as your script says, right? So you want to make sure that they're getting it done correctly. So the value is this concept of we are curating what they want. Pictures and details of property, whether it's we're sending them in the mail, we're organizing them online. We are curators of pictures and details of properties that the consumer wants. That's the value. It's simple. And when we call, we're just stating that that's what we're doing, right? And then there's the moment that once we finish that beat to make sure it's going or they're receiving them correctly, once that's done, oh, by the way, while I have you, why were you thinking about buying a property? Not when. The when will come. The why is qualitative. If we don't hear a real reason to buy and we're pushing through for an appointment, now you're booking crappy appointments. And like Sarah Corey up in Canada, and all my Canadians found out that they were getting 50% cancellations because they just kept well, if you could get together, we could get to, and people were just saying yes to get off the phone. But last month, they had a 100% show up ratio, 100%. Because instead of forcing people into an appointment to say yes, they found out this person had a real reason why, and they upsold them to the value of the appointment, and everybody showed up because the market to message match and the value was perfect. So you have to finish the first value and then step them up when there's a real why. If you can't find that real why, what are you stepping up? Is that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Maxie. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, if there's no like real reason why, then why do you gotta, push for the appointment this time?
Right. And
you
you
probably
need,
offer a call back.
correct. And your obligation to Duran would be to deliver back to him an interpretation of these leads that I'm getting. I ask every single one of them, do they have a real reason? Why are they buying? And when I listen, none of them have a big reason, and none of them want to do it inside the next 12 months in any serious way. I've heard your recorded calls. Oh, I'm just looking. Oh, really? Why were you looking? Were you thinking about making a move in the next, year? No, not really. So okay, if you've done that job, then what we're getting on the front end is garbage. We're getting whimsical internet inquiries. We're getting subscribers. We're not getting leads. And subscribers aren't the worst thing, but now we have to find a new way to find the leads inside of our subscribers. Does that make sense to both you and Russell?
Yeah.
Russ? So Russ, for you and Maxie to be successful, I want you to find that transition from, hey, I saw that you were looking at this. I want to make sure that you're getting everything here. And, I can even upgrade you to directly to MLS. And so I'd like to do that. Oh, by the way, why were you thinking about doing it? Well, I'm not really. Oh, really? We just kind of, having fun? Yeah, I'm not really. So in the next year, you wouldn't be moving? No, I wouldn't be. See, Russ, you've done your job. Follow me?
Yeah.
And now what are we going to do? We're going to put that guy, because I've heard some of your calls. Well, is it be okay if I call you in the future? For what? For what? You did the job. The guy has no interest in being serious about buying. And that's something we bring back in the notes and say, guy had no reason to buy inside the next 12 months. Why am I following up with this guy at all? Why isn't this guy getting kicked out of the database? You follow me, Russ?
Yeah.
But I can't help you and Maxie improve if you don't first get the service beat so that you serve them. They came in, we fulfilled by giving them, you come in, tighten up their criteria. Oh, by the way, while I have you, why are you thinking about buying? And if the reason is not good enough, you hear, like, if there's a real reason, you'll be able to tell the when. Well, geez, that's a pretty big reason. You're talking about doing it the next couple of months? I am. Look, here's what I suggest in that case. I'd like to book an appointment with one of our outside sales agents who can go over some of this information that will really help you get the best deal. Seattle's a really tough marketplace, right? So let me get you with them. See, now the value of because you have a match, right, Russ? You have a real why. And now the next value for meeting makes a ton of sense. They'd be insane not to meet. Get some interpretation on what's going on from an agent, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sense, Maxie?
Yeah.
Okay. So I really want you to get me some calls where you clearly get the first service beat done. Oh, by the way, why were you thinking about doing it? You've got to find out, every one of you, whether you're doing it for yourself or your BDA, telemarketer, inside sales agent, doing it for a team, you have to figure out why this person is even inquiring or why they're trying. Because if you don't have a reason, we got a problem. Okay. All right. Good job, all of you. Paul, you're trying to send me something, or I just sent a call Sam made yesterday. Yeah.
I'll let you play it because it's a rather long call and I don't know how much you want to listen to, but
All right. You want to give me context?
yes, it's a city about 20 miles south of us called Federal Way. Lower price points out there, but this property happens to be $700K it expired at. A very much older man, so the call takes a lot longer just because he takes a while to kind of digest what she's saying, so it takes a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hi there. Is
Hi.
this Joe?
Yes, it is.
Hi there. This is Sam. I'm calling from Cantu Group Real Estate. How are you today?
Fine. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. So actually, we're just giving you a call because we saw your beautiful home online and we noticed it didn't sell. So we wanted to send you something that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that?
Yes, you may.
Okay. May I confirm the best address? I have here, it's 1312 South 372nd Street and Federal Way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And
What you say I was? You know where I am. I'm in Texas now.
okay, you can give me the mailing address for Texas.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll send it over. So, what would be the best address?
Okay, let me give it. I still
Okay.
am considered a Washington. Let me give you my address.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it looks like a great property. Why are you interested in selling
address
it?
is. Say again.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
My address is Joe Green, Grene,
Can you spell that out for me, please?
capital Place, and Tyler,
Okay.
Texas.
Okay. Perfect.
And
All right. And it looks like
My
a nice
name-
property. Why are you interested in selling it?
say it again, man.
It looks like a
What-
beautiful property. Why were you interested in selling it?
Well, I never have lived in it, but I wanted to get rid of it. Wife and I, we both are retired. We're down here in Tyler, Texas. And it's almost 3 acres of land with a little spot south of it. You might see that on your map if you looked at it.
Right.
And I wanted
Yeah.
to get rid of it. My son is on it now. He lives in the garage there, and he's fixing to try to move out of there. And
Oh.
he's
Okay. And like a scale
just
from 1 to
built
10?
say it again.
Yeah. And from a scale to 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell it?
Wait a minute, so on one scale of 1 to 10, what I asked that one more just third time.
Yeah. From a scale to 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell the property?
Good slowdown.
Maybe 8, 7. I want to sell it.
7.
I want to sell it.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
that's what I
Well,
want to get.
I'll send
You
you.
think you can sell? You think
Slow
you can
down.
sell it?
Slow down.
Absolutely, we can. So we're going to send you the package over to Texas just for you to take a look at it. And is it okay if somebody gives you a call maybe on Monday for you to get
Sure.
more?
You sure it's okay? You sure okay?
Okay, on Monday at what time would work best?
Well, you know, I like to say it we again, but okay, no. You guys, y'all are 2 hours behind. That's Texas, man.
Yeah.
second half to 50-some years. And
So in Texas, it would be like 4:48.
say it again.
In Texas, it's 4:48.
That's right.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So what time would work best for you? Like the same time?
All right,
As now?
let's let
Well,
me,
that's good. That'll be
start.
good.
Hey, Sarah Van, are you there
All
still?
right. Perfect, Mr.
Okay.
Reed. Well, I'll send that over.
Yeah, I'm here.
And
Okay,
I'll give you a
good.
call on Monday, okay?
Hang on.
Okay, thank you. It's nice to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You
Okay.
too. Bye-bye.
Paul, you tell me, Sarah, it looks like you've got a good call from me too. So hang in there. I'll go overtime for it. Okay. I just noticed in the chat. Paul, tell me what you think.
I think my critique, and it's a small one, was that she needs to slow down a little bit because it takes somebody who's maybe a little bit older a little bit more time to process. And I think she got a little bit nervous waiting. And so then she jumped in, and right when she jumped in, he started talking again. So they're kind of talking over each other in a couple spots.
Yeah.
But overall, considering the fact that he was an older gentleman, and I think she's pretty patient. And at the end of the day, I think we'll get it. Honestly, I think we'll get that.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I think she's learning to slow down. And ironically, Sarah Van has a call from me, and that's why I want to make sure I play this too, because she speaks quickly too. So one of the things that I think good ISAs like this do that speak quickly is very similarly to what Rebecca was doing. They're all trying to check boxes. Stop doing that, everybody. Just have a darn conversation with somebody against what you're trying to achieve, right? You're winning here. She's winning. Like this, she's in this thing. She's winning. She's in control. But like she skips over, I'm a 7 or 8, but I want to sell it. Have that conversation. The only reason for these questions is so they will read their minds aloud. Have that conversation. Really, how come not a 10? Never asks it. It's like I'm always confused when somebody's winning, why they start like rushing to get off the phone. It's weird. All of you. Do it. You're all rushing to get off the phone and you're winning. Like this is the relationship business. They are not going to allow you to upsell an appointment unless their why and timing is there. We know that. Okay. And you're rushing that. So where are we going? Like I've listened to a couple of Russell's calls and Maxie's calls. And when they didn't get the why, it's sort of like, well, can I call you in the future? We have this bloated database of people that are nebulously there, and you had them and they wanted to talk to you. Where are you going? Slow down. This is, and I know where it comes from. The mentality in this industry has been this massive volume at the expense of quality. It is a disaster when you do that. It's a disaster. Your database sucks. You don't know where anybody is. You don't know the quality. You can't answer the team. It's terrible. And I'm not saying it's even your fault. Like Kleber noticed, it's our fault. We're the leaders of this thing. Give everybody permission to slow down and work on quality and listen. Start listening and responding. The opening scripts are there to anchor conversations, but the next part is humanity. Where's the humanity in these calls, right? This is an old man. He wants to sell it. The why is huge. He's in Texas. He's an old man and he doesn't want this property. It's right there for the taking, right? Where are we going? Nail it right there. He's like, he's thrilled that anybody has called him. You can hear it. Nobody's calling him, having this quality conversation. Slow down. Got it? Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
I don't even know if she should have gone to the 1 to 10 question. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he was motivated for one, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well,
why didn't she just say, "Can I set up a phone appointment with Paul right now?"
No doubt about it. It's the same thing Rebecca missed because we didn't train them to say. If you will listen for that why, I cannot emphasize that the biggest distinction we have made in this coaching program in 2020 has been to ensure that no matter what the source of the conversation comes from, buyer, seller, agent, recruit, why are you going to do this? And then listen for a real reason and then go to the next value steps. That's it. Immediately. If there's a match, immediately go to the next value step. We don't have to go checking boxes and all. Go. It's there. Think. Nobody ever said at this program ever, stop thinking. In fact, the systems are there to empower you to be you, to be human. They just keep you organized so you don't get lost. Okay. So close this guy for a phone appointment with Paul. Paul, this guy's in Texas. He's elderly. Don't like, can somebody call you next week? Can I get Paul on the phone with you today? I don't need to wait till next week. You're going to be around for a little bit. Get off, call Paul, assuming it's during business hours. Can I have Paul call you in the morning? Like, close the gap. That's what happened to Rebecca. She didn't close the gap. She got an appointment because the gal was there, but she got like the wolf, the she-wolf didn't even get a chance to compete because we're floundering for this thing that we think, nope, now. It's there right now. The minute you hear why and it's real, go to the next level, no hesitation. All right, Sarah Van, I think Sarah Corey sent me this thing. Yeah, Sarah Corey, you still on too?
I'm still here.
Sarah Van, you with me?
I'm here.
Okay. By the way, Sam's call was fine. It's an education thing, Paul, right? Same as Rebecca. We're evolving the education. She's got to learn to listen and close for that next thing sooner than later. There's no obligation to wait for the package to get there. That's an exchange of value that's been agreed to, regardless of what happens, that's going. But in that moment, if I can upsell you to a phone call or a meeting right there, tonight, tomorrow, close, go. There's no obligation to be like waiting for this thing to arrive next week. There's a sense of urgency because there's a why going, It's a noise. You should hear it in your head. Listen for it. All right, here we go. Let's go. You guys want to give me context here at all? Sarah Van, Sarah Corey?
Yeah, it's a buyer call.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be a seller call.
Okay, here we go.
Hello?
Hi there, looking for Lynn.
I am.
Hi, Lynn. This is Sarah calling from the home search site. Lynn, I noticed that you had created an account on our site. You were looking at homes in Ottawa. I just want to make sure that everything is all set up nicely. You were only looking in Ottawa, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Was there a neighborhood specifically that you wanted to focus on?
I'm not really, like, currently I'm just, like, browsing
Okay.
all kinds of,
Yeah, you know what? It's always really nice to see what's going on in the marketplace right now. I noticed the price range you have is quite large. Was there a price point that you wanted to focus on?
I think as long as, like, below 450.
Okay. So 450 would be your maximum. Now, are you considering condos as well?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll put that between 3 and 450 because anything that's below 3 is going to be like those high-rise condos with really, really high fees.
Yeah, I like high-rise.
Okay, I'll include that then as well. Awesome. So we'll make sure that you are getting the right type of property alerts. That way it'll give you a really good idea of what's going on out there. While I have you on the phone, were you thinking of buying a home?
Because now I'm selling my house, so
okay.
I guess it would be nice for next couple months.
Okay. And so you have your property listed now, or you're going to be putting it up for sale very soon?
Like very soon, like end of this month, yeah.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to buy something right now?
Like 7.
Okay, that's pretty high. Are you working with a real estate agent right now to help you with your plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so are they the agent that's going to be listing your property?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming then if you were to purchase a property, you would be working with this agent?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And have you already made a commitment 100% to hire them?
Not yet.
Okay. Because we are a full service brokerage with Remax. We've been in the industry about 10 plus years. Would you be open to hearing about how our team does business before you made a final decision on who to hire?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And now, Lynn, how long have you been at your current property?
Like 5 years.
5 years, okay. And are you looking to get into something a little bit bigger, or what was the reason for selling?
Like I don't like living in the house now.
Oh, okay.
I want to like move to the smaller property. So
Something
condo is ideal without the yard.
Yeah. Okay. And is it just you that's living there now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And Lynn, what's your property address?
It's 416 Vandervale Avenue.
How do you spell that? V-A-N?
VENDE-VALE.
Vandervale. Okay. Okay. How old is the property?
I think it's built 2008.
2000 and?
2008.
2008. Okay. Okay. So you only bought it about 5 years ago. What did you pay for it 5 years ago? I'm just curious.
I paid like 365.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. 365. And you said it was 416 Vandervale, VENDERVALE?
VENDEVALE.
Van, okay, VANDERV. Okay, let's start over. VAN.
VEN.
Okay, then.
DE.
DE.
Yeah.
I just want to see how patient you are.
VALE.
Ah, okay, okay. I was adding the R for some reason. Here you are. I see the house. Okay, detached, 2-story. Okay, beautiful home. Yeah, built in 2008, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Now, in the 5 years that you've lived here, Lynn, have you done any major renovations?
Not really, but like
Okay.
I'm planning to paint and fix the paveway and the patio.
Okay, okay. You know what? It's a really good time to get in there, because what we can do is we can come by and take a look at the condition of your home. Because what's happening right now in the real estate market is there's not a lot of inventory, and you've got a lot of buyers that are competing with each other and are willing to pay 10 to 15% on top of the asking price. So before you did put any money into any work done, because what a lot of people assume is, you've got to get it kind of show ready. But with how great the market is right now, I think there's a really good chance that you can get the highest price possible for your home without putting any money into it. Okay? What we can also do is bring you some comparables to show you some photos and some other homes that have sold in your area to give you a really good idea of what that real estate looks like. We're also going to bring with us our 7-point seller plan. We're going to leave that with you, and also give you some insight on what you can do to do it the right way. Okay? There's no cost, no obligation, but at least this way you've had a chance to see how our team does business. Okay? Are you free to have somebody come by this weekend or Monday?
How about this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend would be amazing. What time would work for you?
Okay, I'm going to stop it there and dissect it. Number one, it is a perfect execution of an articulation of value. Does it need to be tightened up, Sarah Van? Sure, but you can hear the effectiveness of language. You heard the word insight. You heard the articulation of value with specifics. So this is what I'm trying to say, is that when you hear and Sarah's a very fast talker and he's an extremely slow talker. So wonderful juxtaposition of 2 styles, and you can see the adjustment that she makes. And this is why it becomes effective. This is why we can get home on it. I thought in the middle somewhere, something was missing for the transition. I thought you could have cut some of this out by just, clearly when he said he was selling, why didn't you go right to that? Why did you continue on the buy side?
Well, as soon as he told me that he needs to sell first, that's when I kind of switched it.
Well, you didn't. That's why I'm asking. You stayed with the buy side a little bit, right? You versus saying, there's some standard language. I don't love it, but have you already listed the property? There was that moment right there where, first of all, hear me say 5 gold stars for staying slow, staying valuable. You do that. And that's why you're getting the yes, right? You do that. But now I'm going to go to another level with you. The minute, in my mind's eye, listening to this, we are a listings driven industry. I want that listing appointment quickly because you and I full well know whoever lists it is going to get the buy side. Would you agree?
100%.
Yeah, he's not going to go buy with you once he's listed with somebody else. So go for the listing. The minute you know the reason why, which you did a great job getting out of him. I don't want this, house anymore with the yard. And be careful of your own biases. Well, if I got under 300,000, it's a high rise and there's high fees. You were talking him out of it. And he's like, I like that. So just be careful of your biases a little bit. It's more like, see what he really wants. Okay. See what he really wants. You recovered nicely, but the tone was negative about the high fees. He doesn't care. The high fees are good for him. The house is less. It's all less. He's like, I like that, right? So just be careful of your own biases in there. Just find out genuinely what he wants and then say, wonderful. Have you had anybody do an evaluation of your property and give you tips on what to do and what not to do to get the best number? You don't have to go into all this other stuff, right? You don't. You got him. You're here. So try to get rid of all of the extra. Say, and just calm yourself down. Oh, you'd like to sell your property. Wonderful. Have you had anybody give you an evaluation of the property and tell you what to do and what not to do to get ready to sell it? Period. Because that's genuinely what we're going over to do. We'll do an evaluation. We'll tell you what to do and what not to do to get the best number in that evaluation. Period. That's all there is to it. We don't need all this extra stuff. You're far better than the extra stuff. In fact, if you go into too much extra stuff, you will confuse him. Now, as the call goes along, I know what you're doing. You're sticking to the yellow brick intake form. You're going through the seller qualifying questionnaire. See how powerful it is? Because it's an interactive tennis game about him and his property. When did you buy it? And you're genuinely looking it up, right? You're genuinely looking it up. And so, I see it here. It's wonderful. So he knows you're for real. There's no doubt about it. And so he's happy to answer. And you've got all these beautiful qualifying questions at 2008. He hasn't done much. He's thinking about painting. Well, look, before you paint, let me set this up. Let me get one of the agents over there and they can come over with the information to do the evaluation, pictures and details of properties, and they'll evaluate your price. And then they'll tell you what not to do and what to do before you list. Because the market's pretty good. A lot of people getting over 10%, 15% more. That's it. Tighten it up. Don't go too far because you're not face-to-face. When you're face-to-face, you can get away with more dialogue. Somebody can add that to the 7 steps when they're in the house. But generally, this is an excellent job at anybody listening to her, you don't understand that she's following a formula because she's doing it so conversationally. She's demonstrating her value by caring and asking the right questions. And then she's telling the value of what will happen when she gets there. It just needs cleanup, but it is excellent and effective. Bravo.
Good job. Technical question.
Yeah, go.
Are you using a headset, a dialer?
No, we just use an office phone. Like I tuck right on my hand. I tuck on a handset.
Yeah, they slow it down. Lee, they slow it down up there, right? They've done a good job.
Well, I think with the headset, you can definitely tell that she's comfortable and she's not fumbling around with the papers or the computer or whatever. That's why I was wondering.
And she's
very clear.
And Lee, Sarah Corey's done a good job with Sarah Van and the rest of the staff up there at explaining we want people athletically ready for the call. She is. That's what it sounds like. She's in front of the computer. Whereas Rebecca is not as athletically ready. But then again, Sarah Van's already a pro. She's been doing this for a long time, right? So she can multitask. So Rebecca being new, you can see what she needs to level up to. She really should have this woman's property right in front of her. Have you done some analysis? Oh, I have it right here in front of me. And I see it's a beautiful property. But the interpretation of what to do next, that will come from Gail. But yes, I have your property right in front of me so that I can put together the appropriate package. Boom, 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 boom. That's athletically ready. Sarah Van is actually good enough to do it on the fly. Oh, what was the address again? And she slows it down. It's hard to understand, right? She gets it right. She looks it up. Now there's a connection. Good job. Like in that moment. Athletically ready, that's what it sounds like.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome. It's a very good job. And now over time, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And I'm proud of you for slowing down. This is a wonderful example of how good you are when you do slow down. What I'm saying to you is, I think somebody said it earlier, I think it was Clever. There's a point in time where we get nervous or excited or whatever in the heat of the moment. And we tend to want to talk through this. You're doing a good job of slowing it way down. And Sarah, I'm the one that's been giving you permission to be Sarah. Be human. You are so good with this guy. This is a really, like, the tender side of you is coming out here instead of this rushed. And I know you've been conditioned to rush. I know you've been conditioned to get appointments for the sake of appointments, not this kind of quality. I know. So I know it's a reconditioning, but there you are, my dear, right there. I'm starting to hear the real you in this call. Now just get rid of all the extra. You don't need it. You don't need it. Be proud of yourself that you're that good that a few simple lines could book a quality appointment. You don't need the extra. You see what I'm saying there?
She's really good, Danny, I have to say.
She's excellent.
And she was very patient, and her tone is excellent. Yeah, I would love to have her work for me as well.
Yes, she's just really, she's been doing it for a long time, but she'll tell you that, like, Sarah's a good, Sarah Van and Sarah Corey, who manages them, they're both excellent at being coachable, because this is not the way that Sarah Van sounded, back Sarah, like a year ago or so?
A year ago. Yeah. Huge difference.
Well, speak to it.
So how long has she been doing this?
We'll speak to it. Give her your resume so she knows where you were and what you were doing.
I've been in real estate for about 10 years now, but doing ISA for about 3-4 years now.
Yeah. Tell her what team you were at. You can tell her. So,
I was with Marnie Bennett.
So she was up in Ottawa with another, Proctor-ite type of situation. And so, coming out of that world influenced by the Ferry-esque stuff, it is very much about getting the appointment at not, I won't say at all costs. Sarah, you speak to it. What was the goal at that team and what was being taught so that she has perspective?
So my role was to ask very, very basic questions. I wasn't really allowed to go outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
The buyer script was very basic, and it was about doing 16 appointments every single week. That's it.
Sorry, go ahead. Hang on. Go ahead.
The focus was on booking those 16 appointments.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. And that's just frighteningly ugly. Did you have a big no-show rate there? How did you guys do?
It wasn't too bad because we had so much volume.
Yeah.
So it made up for it.
Yeah, but you had no-shows, right? Did they ever measure the rate at which people no-showed? Sarah Corey, you can speak to that. What was the no-show rate at Metro City?
When Sarah started, we were hovering at 50%.
50%, Gail. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a stat. That's a real stat. They're hovering around 50% no-show, because when your goal is to book the appointment, who cares if somebody doesn't show? It's this sense of volume game. Well, why? Do you know what that actually costs in real lost time? In real lost money?
The confidence that the lack of confidence it creates. not for the telemarketer as well as the agent that's, booking, going to the appointment. They start, the whole premise is you start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's a bigger thing than just the money and the time. It's what goes on in your head.
Yeah. Right. Well, you're experiencing 50% failure.
Yeah, that's
50% failure is what you're experiencing.
Oh, that's
and
a
like
lot.
none of these team leaders will slow down to say, that's terrible management on my part. If I continue to perpetuate that, that's terrible management. Like Kleber has this right today. Remember what I said to you in the one-on-one this week. You and I are responsible for Rebecca, her success or failure until we're not anymore. And Sarah Van has already gone into that next level where she's had enough of this coaching. She's trusting it. She's applying it. And there it is executed. And here you are, a pro, going, oh my gosh, that was great. Because that's our expectation, is if she can make a quality call like that, we know that that appointment's going to be quality, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so it's a big deal.
Yeah, and I can't stress enough the disappointment that happens with that 50%. And you've got to stack that up. And stacking that much disappointment creates, things in your head. So you have to change. There has to be a change. And that's what I think is really going on here. You're doing an excellent job, Danny, because I think we really didn't realize how important it was in the process.
It's huge.
It's the process that really makes the difference on the quality of the appointment.
It's everything.
So
Look
I
at
thank you for that.
you're
Really
welcome.
thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It's been, thank you, the core mastermind members, the ones to be thanked, because that's what's keeping
Right,
us
it's
all
all of us
accountable.
together.
Well, that's what's keeping us accountable to this body of working on it, so that we become better observers. The good news is, here's the real good news. What Sarah Van just did in front of you was simply execute a very simple seller qualifying questionnaire. And as a seasoned pro, she made it sound conversational. And she was able to adjust the pace, where her natural pace is warp speed and his was slow, tortoise speed. And she was able to use a formula to slow down, make sure she got what was necessary, close on the value of the appointment, and book it. And it's like it's a virtuoso performance when you hear it. Of course, we can all get better in it, but what's beneath her is this structured way that, because he's a real why, she's able to smoothly go right into the next thing. Wonderful. This is a seller appointment. Let me book it. See, all I was saying is early on, she could have saved herself time. They're going to get the buy side. But just forget about the buy side for a minute, because you're not even getting that until you go straight to sell side. So her thing is now, she can even make this, she can take the accordion and squeeze it down, still have as effective an appointment, and be on to the next one. There's where the money is, Gail. That's in the business. That's where the money is. We don't even need her to be 7 minutes long. She can do this in 4.5 and be perfectly tight, and go on to the next one that's slow. And I'm glad Lee asked the question, because with Autumn, with Sarah, there's no hurry now that we've taken the pressure and said, get quality people who show up, who list, who sell and monetize. That's business. If, as managers, that whole continuum has to be there. And Sarah, you're right. Sarah needs to feel proud that she initiated this thing that led to monetization. That's where I was going with Maxie and Russell, because those two poor kids sitting in the Philippines pounding away at some of the toughest stuff, if they keep bloating this thing, I mean, they become dejected, because and they're good. They're really good. But if they're being subjected to not understanding the value of this appointment, and they're not setting up good appointments, all of a sudden everybody's looking at them like it's their fault. And I'll go back to what Kleber said early on. It's not their fault. It's ours. Right?
Right.
So, all right, bravo, everybody. Listen, let's call it a day. We went OT because excellent work. Unbelievably excellent work. All of you ladies, especially on the telemarketing group, that came in with this stuff. And I will tell you, when I have a campfire call every other week, it is to talk about the value of the buyer and seller course, so you understand it. It's best if you can come there. It's 1 hour every other week, and we get into this value of this plan, and we talk about how to layer in, the properties, just so your brain is always trained that that's information. And then the upsell is the visit with the buyer agent, the visit with the listing agent to get interpretation, both free, both extremely valuable to anybody that's about to enter the biggest financial transaction most people will make in a lifetime. Okay. So that's the whole point of the fundamental training here. And you could hear it in action today. Bravo, ladies. Bravo. Bravo. Very, very well done. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go out and practice. Keep doing this. Keep doing this. Keep improving. That's the name of the game. All right, everybody.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Danny.
You're welcome all.
Danny,
Hey, Dean, I have one thing that's delayed with Kleber. Kleber, we still on with that? Okay. So let me take care of that, Dino, and I'll circle to you next. All right. I just have to interview a telemarketer with him. Okay.
Want to just do 2:45, 3
Yep.
o'clock?
Yep.
All
See
right,
you.
3 o'clock.
Yep. See you.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome all.